They came to laugh, to watch lions roar, acrobats fly, and the big top come alive with magic. But what began as the happiest show on earth ended in screams, smoke, and fire. A single spark turned joy into chaos, and within minutes, the tent of dreams became a burning grave. This is not just another tragedy. This is the true story of the Hartford Circus Fire, the worst circus disaster the world has ever seen. It was supposed to be a day of laughter, wonder, and amazement, the kind of day children would remember for the rest of their lives. On July 6, 1944, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus rolled into Hartford, Connecticut. Thousands gathered under the big top, eager to escape the worries of wartime America. The circus was known as the greatest show on earth, and for many it truly was, until that day when the tent of dreams turned into a hell of fire and death. The performance began just after 2 in the afternoon. The massive tent, capable of holding nearly 7,000 people, was buzzing with excitement. Families ate popcorn, children laughed, and the circus band played its joyful tunes. Lions roared, trapeze artists flew overhead, and the smell of sawdust and peanuts filled the air. But hidden beneath that excitement was a deadly mistake. The entire tent had been coated with a mixture of paraffin wax and gasoline to make it waterproof. A fatal decision that would turn one small spark into a roaring inferno. It began so suddenly that most people didn't even notice at first. A small flame, flickering near the men's section of the tent, crept up the canvas like a shadow. Within seconds, the fire spread across the ceiling. Some thought it was part of the show, a trick, maybe even a pyrotechnic act. But when a piece of burning fabric fell and ignited the stands, panic erupted. The band stopped playing. The ringmaster tried to calm the crowd, shouting for people to move slowly toward the exits. But it was too late. The exits were narrow, the ropes tangled, and the flames were already raining down. Screams filled the air as the tent turned into a furnace. Parents clutched their children, trying to find a way out through the chaos. Horses and elephants panicked, adding to the confusion. The wax-coated canvas burned like oil, melting and dripping fire onto the crowd below. People fell, tripped, and piled over one another in the desperate rush to escape. The flames consumed the tent in less than 10 minutes. When it finally collapsed, it trapped hundreds inside. The smell of smoke and burned cloth lingered over Hartford for days. When the fire was finally out, the scale of the tragedy became clear. 167 people had died, most of them women and children. Hundreds more were injured. The aftermath was beyond heartbreaking. Rescue workers described the scene as something out of a nightmare. Rows of burned bodies, melted shoes, and the eerie silence of a place once filled with joy. One haunting photograph from that day showed a little blonde girl lying peacefully among the victims. No one knew who she was. For decades, she was known only as Little Miss 1565, a number taken from her morgue tag. Her identity remained a mystery for more than 50 years. The investigation that followed uncovered shocking negligence. The circus had been running behind schedule, skipping safety inspections, and using the dangerous gasoline and wax waterproofing formula to save time and money. Witnesses claimed the fire started when someone dropped a cigarette or match near the tent's edge, a small mistake that became one of the worst disasters in American history. Several circus employees were charged with involuntary manslaughter. The most fled or received light sentences. The Ringling Brothers. Circus eventually paid out millions in settlements, but for many families, no amount of money could erase the horror of that day. Years later, survivors would still remember the smell of smoke, the sound of screaming, and the terror of watching the tent collapse. Some said they could never attend a circus again. Others said the laughter of children would always remind them of the screams they heard that day. The Hartford Circus Fire became a turning point in safety laws. From then on, tents were required to be fireproof. Exits had to be clearly marked, and emergency plans were mandatory for large events. But behind those regulations remains a chilling truth, that even the happiest places can hide the deadliest dangers. The fire that started with a single spark consumed not just a circus, but an entire generation's innocence. And though decades have passed, the ghosts of that big top still linger in Hartford's memory. Some say on quiet summer afternoons, when the wind is just right, you can still hear the faint echo of circus music and the screams that followed it. A reminder that the worst circus death in history wasn't just one life lost. It was hundreds of dreams burned beneath the big top. The fire ended that day, but the echoes of terror never truly died. Hundreds of lives were lost, children, parents, and performers who came for joy but met their fate under the flames. The circus promised wonder, but left behind only ashes and sorrow. And even now, some say that when the summer air is still, you can hear faint circus music in Hartford and the cries of those who never made it out. If stories like this send chills down your spine, don't forget to subscribe, because every story hides a darker truth, and I'm here to uncover it